You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Surlana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and welcome. This is Spaceboy Universe. I am Spaceboy.
And I'm Surlana.
And it is June the 3rd of 2017. And tonight we're going to be talking about Great Women of History, Volume 2, that is. As always, you can follow us on Twitter. That's at the SB Universe. Follow Surlana at Surlana. Follow me, Spaceboy, at Spaceboy Music. Of course, follow the network, and that's at the SBU network. You can also go to spaceboyuniverse.com to catch the show. And when you do so, click on the dancing chat bubble, and that will get you in with all the space cadets, the cool kids, as I like to say. In addition to Twitter, you can find us on the universe on Facebook, Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Just look for Spaceboy Universe. Speaking of YouTube, you can find more than the Spaceboy Universe of archive of shows. In fact, just recently, you got a chance to see what we did at Comic Palooza. There is video content from Spaceboy Music, interviews like that, and 2-Bit Gamers, and so much more. Can't catch a show live? No problemo. Take the SBU on the go with you via Spreaker, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Because, man, we like to broadcast. And on that magical note, how are you, Surlana?
I've got one ear open.
Mm-hmm.
So
just to let our audience know that I might step away here very shortly. We ordered pizza, and it's
taking an hour.
Taking an hour, but that's fine. It's a Saturday night. Everybody loves a little pizza action on Saturday night.
I keep hearing
stuff.
Yeah, you hear that thumping?
No, I don't. But I'll go take a look.
You think the storm's back?
Could be. So I'm going to step away, and Surlana's going to entertain you.
Yeah, I'm going to entertain you. So. Once again, this is Great Women of History Volume 2, and the focus is going to be women you may not have heard of, that I never heard of, growing up or in history class. So my hope is that this is not the last volume, because there's... okay, hold on. Can everybody hear, or is it just Bev? I'm going to type in chat. So is there sound? Because every now and then, Spaceboy will forget to push a button. So I'm just waiting for some confirmation from people in our live chat on Spreaker. Okay. Hey, Dennis. Good to see you, Dennis. There's a box coming your way, but it may take a while because of, customs and whatnot. Nothing? Okay. So, Spaceboy returns. Bev was saying she couldn't hear anything, but everybody else hears things just clear, fine. So, yeah.
Did you have her restart her machine or restart her browser? Or
the IT guru is talking to Bev.
Yes, this is the IT guru. Thank you for calling, and thank you for calling the SBU network hotline. And if you're having trouble with your player, please go ahead and restart your browser. If you're using Chrome, I'm sorry. If you're using Firefox, good for you. And IE, what century are you from?
That was very good. I approve.
So, hey,
How's your day been?
Well, with the exception of falling on my rump a little bit earlier. And
Oh,
you going
man,
to look
I was
for me.
looking for your dead body, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
I'm aching from that. I'm probably going to have to take some Advil because slipped on a coat hanger of all things. A plastic
That's
coat
going
hanger.
to happen to me one day. I just know it.
I can feel it in my back and stuff. So, but hey, there's Tina. Hey, Tina, we haven't seen you in a long time. So thanks for coming back to the universe. And plus Bob, thinking of Bob, we got to get him taken care of on the other stuff.
He's got Bev sorted out, so.
Oh, good. As long as he's got her sorted out.
Only thing I had just told him was about tonight's topic, and hopefully it won't be the last volume. Maybe it'll be a volume 3, 4, 5, and it's appropriate that we're talking about this on the weekend after Wonder Woman gets released.
Wonder Woman.
But before we get into that, do you want to get into something we weren't able to talk about last week because we had some callers?
But I don't want to address the ST thing until I come back. So if there's another,
we don't want the pizza delivery to interrupt.
I want to get involved in that conversation.
Okay, well, you may go ahead to the Wonder Woman thing.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it's sort of appropriate that we're talking about. I've read a lot of research articles. How long has Wonder Woman been in existence? 70, 75 years?
About that long, yes.
It has taken 75 years to get
that's why
this movie.
When you see the main hardcore cartoon heroes or comic book heroes from that group, you got Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, because they all come from that same time period when they were created.
Yeah. So, but how many Superman movies there been? How many Spooderman movies been? I mean,
obviously there hasn't been a Wonder Woman movie. And
so they're saying
like a cry out for why
it's already on par with the Marvel opening day releases in the 30-39 million range, and for this to be a female-led and female-directed movie, it's quite a coup, and it's sad, here we are in 2017, that we're still having to even bother to talk about empowerment for women. And even, it's like women are a species that is so strange and foreign that it's like men had to push us off to the side or something. It's like, why in this day and age did it take this long? Women have jobs and money and interests, and crying out for role models for young girls.
Well, let's
and young boys to see.
Take a step back here for a second, because we have Wonder Woman the movie, but we have to give it up to Linda Carter, because in the 70s there was this small, I guess, a renaissance of comic book heroes coming out on the small screen. And at that time, Linda Carter got the chance to do Wonder Woman.
It's the only TV show I remember my dad watching. Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter, she's still good looking.
And she has no business looking that good right now. And I think she gave her approval to this movie, because I think she went to a premiere or something. But so I look at all the box office, what a triumph that is. Even before it hit the theaters, it was already a triumph, what I read. But the one article that made me stop and read it to the end was this one I want to talk about. Here is the title of the article. Theater shuts down men's tantrum over women-only Wonder Woman screening. So what this is about, this actually happened here in Texas, in Austin, which is not surprising, because Austin is more liberal than any other town in Texas. So it's also our capital, state capital. So that might be the reason. But where it happened was funny. It's a place that you and I have gone to here in Houston, or rather in Katy, Texas, the Alamo Draft House.
Very popular here in
and
Texas.
Well, there's only one or two locations, but
that's why they're so popular.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you go and you sit down and you order food, a full meal, and snacks and candy and popcorn and beer and wine
and liquor
right there at the theater, and you have little tables in front of you. So
that came out of the fact that they would take some of the older movie studios, rip out like every other aisle to put in a thing
table
where you
things.
get tables and stuff, and that was kind of great an idea. But and then there was another company that I'm not going to name, but they came out and tried to do the same thing, but the difference is that they had task chairs. And it was really kind of like...
it was not comfortable.
It was not
and
comfortable.
then the movie theater in our mall has now switched over to electric recliners.
Not only that, they're going to be serving alcohol, too.
So it's like they're trying to compete with your home experience of watching movies. So, but anyway, they had a women's-only viewing of Wonder Woman. And, of course, some men took notice of this, and they vociferously complained about it and goes, "Have you ever hosted a men's only showing of any film?" One foolish man commented on Draft House Austin's Facebook page, and they said, "We've never done showings where you had to be a man to get in, but we did show the Entourage movie a few years ago." So the theater responded to that criticism by, they say, doubling down on their interest in providing more space for just women to watch movies there.
You know what Alamo Draft House reminds me of? Is Wendy's.
Wendy?
Twitter. Because, well, with the Alamo Draft House, they have this no-nonsense approach.
They don't do that corporate, like, well, we're sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
We want to get you in touch with them. They're like, whatever. We're going to do more.
Yeah, if you don't like it, whatever.
We're just going to do it more.
This is what we're here to do, is to have a good time and show movies. And if you don't want to do that, then take your crying baby out of here.
They said they're going to provide more spaces free from the scourge of men. And this is the quote, "We will be expanding this program across the country and inviting women everywhere to join us to celebrate this iconic superhero in theaters." So it's like, let's see how many more men we can piss off. So the men have continued to express their opinions on social media about it. He goes, "Does this mean Draft House will have a men's only screening of Man of Steel or Terminator?" The Draft House said no. And another man complained that a male-only event would never be approved by social justice warriors. The Draft House responded by saying, "We're actually still waiting on our SJW certification of this event, but crossing our fingers." So, the best critique came from a man who questioned Alamo Draft House's upcoming horror film, It, based on, Stephen King's novel about a demonic clown that kills children. And he said, "Would you ever consider a special screening for It that's only for those who identify as clowns?" He asked him. And the theater said, "Well, we might."
It's a losing battle in that situation, and
they like trolls.
They do. They take care of trolls so elegantly, and So Alamo Draft House.
I have not seen Wonder Woman yet. I am eagerly awaiting. We tend to wait till everybody's gone, like the first surge,
week after,
has gone.
And then we go on Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and
everybody's in
to
church.
avoid the kids and
everybody's in church
crowd and. So we kind of did that for Deadpool. We were avoiding the church crowd to go to Deadpool on Sunday.
We're going to hell anyway, so I mean,
So, we are going to go see it. However, we've got just 2 days, are what we have to try to fix the universe. Now, you probably noticed that recently on Friday nights, there hasn't been Spaceboy music. And this past Friday was supposed to be Sweet Tea and Sarcasm.
I was forgot about it. I was like, okay, oops, whatever.
And but
it's not like people were dying for that anyway. I mean,
but the thing is, with Spaceboy music, I've been getting back into writing music, and I wanted something fresh and new. And
we're about to move the studio to another room again.
So that's another thing. Tomorrow I'm heading to Home Depot to buy some paint, and we're going to paint the
I'll take pictures and put it on social media so y'all can see before and after.
So we have a proper-looking studio, and when guests come over, which I guess this is going to be kind of new for us. But
I'm going to have to I need to confirm that actually later.
But we'll be able to bring in guests to the studio, and it'll be all proper and everything. So look for photos.
Although I will ask you to use the restroom at the Citgo.
she'll be giving you a key with a brick tied to it, and so that you can use the. What you mentioned something about a porta potty or something like that?
Yeah, we can just rent a porta potty and put it in the front yard on the nights that we have guests. That way, they'll never have to enter into the main house.
You're so wrong. I mean, it cracks me up.
So I don't have to clean everything.
Well, the thing is that we're moving the studio so that it makes it easier for people to come over and be a part of our studio
rather than go through the whole house.
And it's just, surprisingly, we are private people. We're not here, we don't have parties every weekend and inviting people over and guests. It's not that we don't hate people. It just, we have to section out a part of our life that's private. And that's...
I don't know, would you go to someone's house where their studio was in the house? I mean, that doesn't seem weird.
Would you steal a policeman's helmet?
You wouldn't steal a baby. Nobody knows that reference. It's a little too obscure.
I know.
What's the status on...
have you heard any pounding on the door?
Okay, I'm just checking.
It's out for delivery. Speaking of which...
How late does this stay open?
This is a perfect... They're open past midnight.
Wow.
Hold on. Space Cadets. Apparently, Surlana doesn't realize that pizza is available pretty much into the wee hours of the morning.
I didn't know that.
And to where you can get it delivered.
Where were we the other day sitting there now up until 3 a.m.?
That was Taco Bell. No, that was...
No.
That was
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
That was crazy.
At 3 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah, and then we leave there and I look next door, there's a brand new Krispy Kreme. I was like, they ought to call this whole section the Heart Attack Alley.
Which today was International Donut Day. Yeah, if you went to your favorite donut place.
You told me earlier.
Yeah, you could get a free donut and a cup of coffee. But
we don't drink coffee.
That's besides the point. Space Cadets, I'm kind of curious to know, what is your favorite pizza place? Don't tell them where we've ordered from because
no free ads.
I want to see what people are saying for their pizza. Now, it could be something where it could be a special place in your neighborhood, which is not nationwide, or if it's a nationwide chain that you enjoy pizza from, let us know. We kind of test the waters, if you will, of our Space Cadets and see what kind of pizza they love. And you can tell us the kind of pizza you do like to eat. We're all looking forward to hearing your pizza stories to give us. So what else, Surlana? In fact, how about this? I'm going to go to the door again and leave you for a minute with the Space Cadets, and I'll be right back.
Gene Pateau says, how about Tiger Woods? Wow. All I know is he had a DUI. Was there more to that than I realized?
Are you going to ask that question?
To Gene. In the chat room. I'm going to link this to you in the chat, and I just linked this in Twitter. I thought this was funny, but I read that PayPal burns Pandora to the ground in lawsuit over logo similarities. And if you click that link I put in chat, it's fine. Nothing, no video will play or anything. But you'll see what PayPal's logo looks like and Pandora's new logo. Of course, PayPal is a way to pay for things online securely, and Pandora is just a streaming digital music service. And I think Pandora is trying to go through some kind of a revival to keep up with like Spotify and Apple Music, and I don't think they're going to make it. So they debuted a new logo last October, and it's very, very similar to part of PayPal's logo, not the whole logo, but they sued them to the ground. Has no path. PayPal says Pandora has no path to profitability. I thought that was pretty bold. The PayPal lawyers went out of their way to paint Pandora as a struggling, has-been tech company with a terrible business model and waning popularity, which I think is probably true.
I don't know how I feel.
You don't care for Pandora. It has to do with how difficult it was to get his music on there, because I think he told me in order to get his original music on there, he had to, and this was a few years back, he had to burn it to a music CD, send it to Amazon. Amazon had to, get it in their system. Then you had to get it, once you're verified in Amazon, you had to send Pandora that link to your music so you're legit, you're a real artist, because otherwise they don't have you in their catalog and you're not anybody. They said basically you're nobody until you're on some other website. And I thought that was, I'm like, so I think he pulled all his music off Pandora because we finally got better things like Spotify, and of course there's iTunes. I believe Spaceboy Music is on iTunes. I know that Spaceboy Universe is. Yes, GeoCities. Who didn't have a GeoCities page when the internet first was born? I think I had one forever. I think I had one on every free service back then. In fact, I remember being challenged to learn how to make a basic website, probably by my brother, and he got me a copy of Macromedia Dreamweaver way back in the day. He says, this is the industry standard. You need to learn how to use it. So I taught myself how to make web pages. Well, now it doesn't matter anymore. You can just go get a free web page with Weebly or Wix, and you don't have to know anything. So it's amazing how times change with that. So, oh yeah, I think, yeah, but you say like, Pandora's going the way of GeoCities, Dennis. That's true. Let's see. Wow. That's deep, Gene. No pizza? Jeez Louise. So, Gene's laying down the poetry here. But anyway, so this beef between Pandora and PayPal has been interesting because of how they're saying how diluted PayPal's self-image is. And it's pretty funny. So I would read that article if you can that I posted. It's some good stuff. Let's see. I'm going to try to get another. I'm looking at things I didn't get to cover from last time. Let's see. Some stories we didn't cover last time because we had some callers, Another article I was going to let y'all know about was David Bowie's musical will be available to watch in virtual reality this month, that was in April, so it's probably out there now. Skype? The 713 or the other one? Yeah, I can get it up now. Sorry, I don't know what that was all about. Apparently he wants me to log into Skype. I don't know why. Let me do that real quick. Pardon me for just a moment. I am sorry for the dead air. Anyway, so David Bowie's musical is called Lazarus, and it ran last year through January of this year, and the musical is coming to virtual reality. So let's see. Oh, this is clever. There's a way to be part of this.
I had to figure out a way to contact. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let me see. Can the Space Cadets hear Space Boy?
Can you hear me, Space Cadets? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Major Tom? What are they saying? Can they hear me?
I'm checking to see if they can hear you now.
Talk about the digital delay here.
Yeah.
So everybody can hear me?
I'm still waiting to find out if they can hear you.
Okay.
Dennis is in the next room.
Come on, Space Cadets.
Okay, Bob says he can, so that's good enough for me.
Okay, good.
If Bob says
anyway,
so.
I'm out in the front of the house because I'm waiting for pizza delivery. I know that it's en route, and so this is a first for us. So, as Surlana was talking a little bit earlier, and I wanted to get in on that action of the Pandora thing, I really don't have very good things to say about Pandora.
And I told him why.
So I was like, good. I hope PayPal takes them down because I don't like them because as a indie artist, they don't really support indie artists. They make this convoluted way to get your music on Pandora.
I told him about that and how it went.
Yeah, and the last album that I had on there was Get Your Groove On. And, I had more albums to put up there and went through the process, and they rejected it.
Sorry.
So, what are you laughing about?
Dennis, he said the first podcast where the host is outside waiting for a pizza.
This is the first for Spaceboy Universe.
Well, we didn't know it was going to take over an hour for the same order we ordered last time. It usually gets here in 30, 40 minutes.
Look, I know Surlana is bad-mouthing this pizza delivery people that we use, but she likes the company that we use. And we're not telling you. Has anybody responded in chat as far as what kind of pizza they like?
No, they're completely ignoring your demands, which I think is funny.
Okay, well, that's fine. I think they would rather read Gene's poetry than to listen to me.
Here. I'll get it started by saying something controversial and volatile. Fruit has no business on a pizza, and most vegetables too. So there. Dennis says everything but pineapple. Dennis says everything but pineapple. Well, do you want to address the
Star Trek
elephant in the universe?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Why don't you start it off and then I'll...
Well, I clicked this article. It said, can Star Trek Discovery win back fans' trust? So, it's going to be a diverse cast. It's going to have a theme. It's going to have a woman win a lead role. It said the first one has a commander instead of captain, but that's wrong because Sisko was a commander for a while before he got promoted to captain. Spock's father, Sarek, is supposed to be in it. Some Klingon warriors. And it goes on, and I just don't care. I'm not going to watch it because you got to pay for it, and there's nothing. I resent the way they've handled fan productions.
Okay. And I'm going to stop you there. First off, I don't even think you've watched the trailer yet. Have you watched the trailer yet?
No, but what are you getting at? Just tell me.
The point is that, one, I do agree with you on some of these points. One, I don't feel like paying for some new subscription for Star Trek. For one thing, I would watch on that. When we do Amazon and everything else on that, two, it looks great. It looks fabulous. I kind of like the look that we're going for here. But as far as will I pay for it? No, they're going to have it on Netflix. On every other nation on this planet will get to see it on Netflix, except for Canada too. Canada is one of those other places they won't be able to see.
Really?
So on that magical note, I got to let everybody go because you're not going to believe what just pulled up.
Okay. He's been standing. Go ahead. Just to give you...
I was going to say, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Surlana, and I'll be back in there, and then we'll take our break and probably get into our topic tonight.
We're almost past the break, but go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. And I'll see you shortly.
All right. So that was Spaceboy live from our driveway, standing in the middle of the road almost, waiting to flag down the pizza delivery guy because they took over an hour and 30 minutes to get it to us. And we thought we would have had the pizza delivered and eaten before the show started, but that's what's going on. Yes, we're sorry. This is not very professional of us, but we've had a busy day. We've got some things we've have to get done, and personal errands, and then some errands we're trying to organize for tomorrow for the universe, and we kind of forgot about dinner. So he says, I just want to order online, get it all online, the pizza, the drinks, and whatever. So that's what happened, and we thought it would be here plenty of time, and we haven't eaten, but, whatever. Oh, I wish the pizza was free. It's not. We're paying out the wazoo for it, but it's good. So he says it's here, and he's going to bring that in shortly, but we're going to figure out, I guess we can all eat it between breaks. So send a slice to Canada. Well, don't you wish you could fax food? like we had technology to just like, oh, I'm just going to send a copy of this pizza, and when it gets to your end, it'll be a real pizza. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I guess that's teleportation, basically. Get a drone delivery for your pizza. Well, we don't live outside of, we don't live outside of civilization. The place where they're delivering this from is 2 streets over and like half a mile north of here. And here is the special delivery now. Oh, I was going to say, what happened to the other bits of it? Sorry about the clanking of the plates. And so, are you ready to take us to the bridge?
Give me a second. You know, it's just a wonderful, interesting evening, is it, my friends? Space Cadets, that is.
Live pizza delivery.
Live pizza delivery. You never know
on
what's going to happen.
On a digital broadcast.
Live on a live cast, yes. So, on that magical note, what we're going to do is we're going to take a musical interlude as we do our bottom of the hour break.
Perfect timing.
And you are listening to Spaceboy Universe Network, and that's Surlana and myself on the Spaceboy Universe Network, and we'll be back right after this. stretching every second out so I can stuff my face with pizza. And then it's like, okay, I got it stuffed, and now I've got to swallow all that stuff I stuffed into my face.
Mm-hmm. Me too. We're quick.
So we're going to be a little bit unprofessional here. You're going to probably hear us drink. You'll probably hear us nibble a little bit here and there, but for the most part, you've tuned in to a show that has razzmatazz tonight.
Or a show that don't give up.
Yeah, you know, while everybody else is doing the same gravy train, we're off onto another tangent of the universe. And you know, we had such a great time talking about the great women of history that after that show, I turned to you and I said, you know, there's so much more, Surlana, that we could talk about. And I wanted to give it justice because, you know, I am a big supporter of women when it comes to that topic. I think over the years, women have been oppressed in many ways, and history has had some great women that have not been taught in history classes to our young men and women.
Exactly. And then
especially our young women, to show that they are capable of doing anything they put their mind to it. And, you know, I'm very adamant when it comes to this because when I had an opportunity to be there for my sister, and her husband had kind of left her, and so it was my sister and my niece and myself living together. I got an opportunity to feel like a parent to raise kind of a little bit of my niece. So, and one of the things I always told my niece was, one, always ask the question why. Don't be afraid to ask the question why, and that always reminds me of our friend Wendy, and I'll explain that later at another date. But I told her, always ask the question why, and never let anybody tell you you can't do anything. Always put your heart true north and set your mind to whatever you want to do, and you can do anything you want to do. And so that's why I feel very adamantly about having shows like this and having shows like STEM. And
I was told the same thing, but I just don't believe it.
Well, you know, you would be happy incarcerated in the Congress Library and never have to go anywhere else but to read every single book. But that's your thing. That's your bag. You know, you love to
Twilight
read.
Zone.
But I mean, if somebody wanted to command a spaceship to Mars, or find a research to a new vaccine or something to that, a woman should have every opportunity to do that as much as a man. And I
look forward to the day we won't even have to discuss this anymore. It's just do it.
So anyway, so that leads us into why we're doing the topic tonight. One, it's women. And two, I love history. I've always loved history, and I've always loved injecting history into the show because it's a part of the big six topics we cover here at the Universe.
I've got pizza sauce smeared across my arm.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's like when you go to bed and you're just like, you know. Yeah, so anyway, speaking of, you know, I had to share this story real quick.
Oh, God.
So this morning I was startled because I was asleep. But it was about the time I was going to normally get up this morning. And all of a sudden, I hear Surlana, and she's like, like singing. I kid you not.
I don't think it was like that.
I could have sworn she was probably having a dream that she was on X Factor or The Voice or something like that. And it freaked me out to beyond belief. I turned over. I said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she kind of slowly stopped singing to herself. And then she gradually woke up and, what? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. And I'm like, man, you freaked me out because you've never done that before.
Here's what happened, okay? I remembered later when I've said this before. If I'm asleep past daylight hours, I don't know what it is about my subconscious brain. It takes it to new levels. It's like, okay, the sun's out. Watch what I can do now. I was told in the dream, don't go outside right now. It's dark. It's night. There are giant wolves that are going to kill you. If they've spotted you, you're dead. Because you'll never outrun them unless you've got some heavy-duty weaponry. Of course, I thought they were joking because it was like there were kids running around. Maybe they were trying to scare the kids. So I'm in this house. I don't know whose house. You weren't there. It was just So I run out of this house because I was going to run across the way to this other house because there was something there I needed to get. There was some kind of party or something going on. And sure enough, I run out, and what comes after me but one wolf, and he's like taller than me, and he's like bulky, and he was slow stalking me. And he was like almost in my face, and I made some kind of crazy SpongeBob noise in the dream. Like, I don't even know what it was.
Well, I can tell you what that noise was.
It wasn't singing.
What it was singing like. I mean, you know,
What's it?
I mean, you weren't your normal Paul Bunyan cutting the trees down kind of thing. It was.
But in the dream, I remember the wolf's face kind of like WTF.
Was it like the wolf? No, it just made me think of the wolf from the Skinwalker Ranch story.
It was like a normal wolf, but a little bit more evil and as tall, let's say almost as tall as Tad over there.
Oh my goodness, Tad. So.
And even the wolf was taken aback by the noise I made.
Was it hungry?
Like the wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the point of them coming to get you.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I dreamed a lot. I even dreamed that Leanne won an award, and I went to her to a fancy, like, almost kind of like fancy Oscar party, and I dreamed that our cat had kittens, even though it's not possible for her to do anymore. I dreamed a ton of stuff.
Well, you definitely got your freak on this morning because it like I was totally like, okay, I couldn't go back to sleep, but I normally get up at that time anyway, so I watched a little bit of Netflix and moved on with my life. But yeah, it was like you really freaked me out, man.
Sorry about that, but it's not like I do it often.
And,
so.
you know, and it's like you flipped the script on me, too. You said, well, you shouldn't go there with all the bells and whistles that you do.
Oh, God, because I was in bed later than you. You were already asleep when I got in bed.
Oh, I was tired last night.
And you pulled out all the stops. You moaned, you groaned, you whistled, you burbled. You did everything but snort. You can't snore, but you did everything else. Hooting and hollering, just so, maybe that was my way to get you back.
I was just restless. And plus, I was, like I said, I went in there.
Yeah, you don't sit still. You don't shut up. When you've got problems, you work it all out.
Yeah, especially it comes out subconsciously in my dreams. So, but anyway, Surlana.
Anyway, it's not what people came to hear.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that in because I was going to bring that up during the banter. But heck, everybody tunes in just to know what Surlana and Spaceboy are going to say next. You never know. So
I'm hoping the next break allows me to heat up my pizza. So we want to get into it.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it first or what?
Why don't you start?
Well, the first one I looked up comes from courtesy of the last time we did the show.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and do this one.
Sure.
Because it's relevant to what we just went through.
I invite you to do all the talking.
So basically, American history is just jam-packed with women who have overcome centuries of discrimination. Because, we've talked about that many times. So we generally remember them like Harriet Tubman and Sacagawea, Jackie Kennedy, Rosa Parks, et cetera, which are
well known.
The legends, But there are some women out there that come along and they'll put their little stamp in history, and it's like, cool, they did that. So I wanted to bring up, I guess her name's Ingrid Kosar. I know it seems like, okay, who is this lady about? But she is very relevant because she was the inventor of the pizza bag. That's right. When you get a pizza delivered, that bag that they pull out your delicious pizza, that bag was invented by her. And, without that well-heated pizza, well, it would be cold like our sodas that we got. But that's a different story altogether.
No, sodas were hot.
Hot, exactly. So we have to give our hats off to Ingrid because she is definitely, from my perspective, a great woman of history, because without that pizza bag keeping your pizza warm, it would just be nasty. So, but yeah, a little.
She deserves a freaking parade.
Oh, she does. I mean, Peoria is putting out the newsletter right now saying, newsflash, Peoria, Ingrid invents the pizza bag and keeps your pizza fresh. So, but yeah. So there you go, a little footnote on history, and I turn it back over to you. I just wanted to put that one in.
I can't eat cold pizza. I just can't do it. It's nasty.
I eat the frozen taquitos, but that's another story.
You eat frozen food. Oh, I don't want to get stuck. Nobody wants to hear about our life. So, was that
Honey Badger don't
it?
care.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, how much more can I say about a woman who creates a bag that keeps your pizza warm?
Is that the bag they bring it in?
That's the bag they bring
to deliver it in
fact,
an hour and 30 minutes later?
Look, how are they going to keep the pizza hot?
They didn't.
Well,
that's the thing. It's already cold.
Well, see, it's important that people know about your criteria of hotness. People, listen to me.
I wish I could write an essay called Criteria of Hotness.
Surlana loves her food molten hot.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what the food is, I'm good. I can go from everything from
as long as it doesn't have mold on it, you'll eat it.
Anything from frozen out of the freezer to
he's eating frozen
baked in the Arizona summer.
Anyway, so this first woman I want to talk about, I actually learned about on our last show, the first show we did about women of history, and excuse me, I learned it. I want to cough now. I learned it from Space Cadet Ty. Let me have a little.
Go ahead.
Excuse me.
I'm going to turn her down. She's getting the little cloggy thing in her throat. It happens to us.
I guess I didn't talk enough today. Okay, so the first one I learned from Ty when he called in and said who his favorite woman of history was. So this is Vera Rubin. So she became fascinated with the night sky at the age of 10 when she was living in Washington, D.C. as a young girl. She said, during that time of her life, she had become entranced by astronomy from watching the stars wheel past her bedroom window. Very poetic. And fortunately, her father supported her interest in astronomy. But he was a little skeptical of her future because this is, it was a time when, that wasn't necessarily, girls in science. But regardless, he supported her. So he took her to amateur astronomy meetings. He helped her build a telescope. So I guess because she had such good support like that, she later pursued her, when she got ready to go to college, she went to Vassar. And she faced the only other female astronomer who was there. So she managed to get her undergrad degree in astronomy. And this is 1948. She was the only astronomy major at the college. And so she wanted to go on and to get into grad school and go to Princeton, but they didn't allow women to do that at this time. Of course, they changed that in 1975. So instead, she went to Cornell, and she studied physics under Philip Morrison and quantum mechanics under Richard Feynman and Hans Bethe. I'm going to tell y'all, full disclosure, there's going to be a lot of foreign names, French, Chinese. I don't have the first clue. So if you do know how to pronounce these, maybe later when I open up the phone lines, you can call in and tell me what the correct pronunciation of these things are. I barely know some Spanish. So Vera completed her master's in 1951, but there was some controversy with her thesis study because traditionally you'll do a thesis when you're in grad school to get out to graduate. So in her thesis study, she made observations about the motions of galaxies, and she argued that galaxies may be rotating around unknown centers rather than just moving outwards as suggested by the Big Bang Theory. You grasp that over there?
Yeah, the expansion of the universe.
But she herself says that her data might have been a little skimpy. So I guess she didn't really argue that point. So nevertheless, she went on to doctoral study to get her PhD at Johns Hopkins University, and she worked with Ralph Alpher. I've not heard of him. So at Johns Hopkins, she worked there and then concluded that galaxies clump together rather than just being randomly distributed throughout the universe. I would think that's because of gravity, but this was an idea that was not pursued for 2 more decades. So she came up with that in the 50s. So in 1965, she joined the Carnegie Institute, and she was on staff at the coolest sounding department name ever. Get this. The Department of Terrestrial Magnetism. Wouldn't you love to work there just because it's a cool name? So she met this man named Kent Ford, and the two of them began looking at the rotation of neighboring galaxies, particularly the Andromeda galaxy. And again, her work comes against some controversy because her observations she made with Ford led them to what is now called the Rubin-Ford effect. And this has to do with motion and rotation of galaxies, and I just flat out don't understand it past that point. And if you do and are listening right now, call in when I get the phone lines open and explain it to me in very simple, plain English. So on the site I was looking at when I was researching Vera, it said that these two were studying the behavior of spiral galaxies. They discovered something unexpected. Stars outside of the galaxy were moving as fast as stars in the middle of the galaxy, which does not adhere to Newtonian gravitational theory. Now I'm going to read this, but I can't promise you that I know what it means. So here's the quote. The premise was that galaxies are rotating so fast they should fly apart. If the gravity of their constituent stars, that means the stars inside of them, was all that's holding them together, as they are not flying apart, a large amount of unseen mass must be holding them all together. This conundrum became known as the galaxy rotation problem, and Rubin's calculations showed that galaxies must contain at least 6 times as much dark matter as ordinary matter. Mm-hmm. I kind of get that. So they're trying to say, hey, these stars out here and way inside here are going the same.
Right, like a record player.
Yeah. So they're trying to figure out what's keeping them in motion and what's keeping them together. So these were the first persuasive results to show that large halos of invisible matter must exist around galaxies. You get that part? Mm-hmm. Or that Newtonian gravity does not apply universally. Or that gravity is not the only force responsible for holding galaxies together. I'm kind of with it so far. I kind of get it so far. Or that some combination of all these things must be influencing their motion. So Rubin's results were confirmed over subsequent decades, and attempts to explain the galaxy rotation problem contributed to the theory of dark matter. So it was her work that finally confirmed the existence of dark matter. Sorry, Dennis. I have a piece of something stuck in my mouth here. This was groundbreaking. So she went on to be an advocate for women in science, and she was the first woman that was allowed to go to Caltech's Palomar Observatory and observe the sky there. The Carnegie Institution is the one that's saying this. Mm-hmm. She was elected to the National Academy of Sciences. She was awarded a Medal of Science, and she continually pushed for women to be admitted into scientific institutions and organizations. And she once said, I live and work by 3 basic assumptions. 1, there is no problem in science that can be solved by a man that cannot be solved by a woman. 2, worldwide, half the brains are in women. 3, we all need permission to do science, but for some reasons that are deeply ingrained in history, this permission is often more given to men than women. So she also said like this, we have peered into a new world and have seen that it is more mysterious and more complex than we imagined. Still more mysteries of the universe remain hidden. Their discovery awaits the adventurous scientists of the future. I like it this way. Now, she died in December of last year of natural causes at the age of 88. But, so it's because of her, we know about dark matter.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, Surlana, why don't we go ahead and take a break? And when we come back, we have more great women of history. So, talk amongst yourself in the chat room, don't ya?
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
Yeah, we're back. And Surlana had an opportunity to heat up her pizza.
And it's going to get cold because unless you've got something to talk about.
No, I'll take the lead here, take a crack at this. You know, Surlana,
Sorry.
we like to play games.
We do?
We do. You like to do the golfing game. I mean, there's some games.
Oh, I thought you meant mental games with each other.
Well, yeah, you do that to me, and you like to play mind checkers with me, and try to get one over on
Dear,
me.
sometimes you got it coming.
Yeah. So, but you love your Scrabble because mentally you beat up on me, and and then there are games that we play together like golf and stuff like that. But there's one game that I love, and I can never get to play with you on, and that is Monopoly.
Maybe you could teach me how to better play that game.
Well, it's interesting about the game of Monopoly. Well, for me, it's fun. I mean, they've got so many different versions of it. You got Star Wars, you've got
I know why you
Doctor
like it.
Who. Why is that?
Because you can build an empire.
Well, it is true. I am in the empire building business. My name is just Walter White. But anyway, I do. It gives you an opportunity to buy property, to build houses on, to collect money from people, and to beat people into submission, which you do like when we play Scrabble. You make me cry like a little schoolgirl. But anyway, getting back to Monopoly, Monopoly has a female inventor, and her name was Lizzie Maggie. So basically, Lizzie... going back in time, she created a game for herself, which was a teaching tool for single tax theory, which was a popular political movement in her time led by, I guess his name was Henry George. Her game was played extensively after she laid claim to it, becoming a favorite among left-wing intellectuals in the Northeast. So a lot of people liked this game. It was really easy, simple to do, and plus it was a teaching tool of all things. And it still kind of is a teaching tool today when you talk about it.
Capitalism.
Yeah, about capitalism. And so, but her game, like I said, it was a tax. I'm trying to think of the name here. It was called, but eventually Monopoly was originally conceived to be a protest against monopolists. Not in favor for him. So, it was not...
Was it called Landlord or something?
It was called Landlord. Thank you. I just totally had one of them mind-zapping moments there, and I couldn't remember. So, yeah, Landlord. And so, it's... the game, it's... hold on, get my thoughts here together. The game and its inventor's political origins are tied to Abraham Lincoln.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, 8 years before she was born, Lizzie's father, James Maggie, accompanied Abraham Lincoln and Joseph Mendel, the 35-year-old publisher of the Chicago Tribune at that time. He, I guess, traveled around Illinois debating politics with Stephen Douglas. So you remember the Lincoln-Douglas debates and all that stuff? Yeah. Maggie later worked as a newspaper editor and gave speeches about his time with Lincoln during the early days of the Republican Party. Because of her father, Maggie had exposure to the intellectual banter of newsrooms and politicos. So basically she was or I guess you could say she's tapped into this line of people that have brain power, so to speak, and put it in layman's terms, and of her day. She was also a stenographer, and she was no stranger to the patent process, which was highly unusual for a woman of her time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so basically Maggie attended a convention of stenographers with her father and soon found work in what was a growing profession. One that had opened up to women as the Civil War removed many men from the workforce. So it's kind of reminiscent of Rosie the Riveter. All these men went off to war and left these women back at home, and so there wasn't men to
There's
fill
a
these
gap
pos-
that has to get filled by somebody.
It's got to get filled by somebody. So Lizzie was one of those people that was able to step in and achieve that. Unusual for the 19th century woman, Lizzie also dabbled in engineering. In 1893, Lizzie received a patent for a gadget that allowed paper to pass through typewriter rolls with more ease. At the time, less than 1% of the patents came from women, making her a standout at any age. But get this, she was only 26 at the time. So she was like, taking it down, girlfriend. So Lizzie was also an outspoken feminist. Finding it difficult to support herself on a $10 a week wage she was earning as a stenographer, Lizzie staged an audacious stunt that made national headlines. Purchasing an advertisement, she offered herself for sale as a young woman American slave to the highest bidder. She said that she...
What? Why?
Yeah, I know, that I was getting tongue-tied. I just couldn't believe that part. She said that she had rare and versatile dramatic ability, a born entertainer, strong bohemian characteristics, could appreciate a good story. At the same time, she was deeply and truly religious, but not pious.
Pious?
Pious, thank you, my bad. The ad became, just like, wow, have you checking this out? You know, it's kind of like, you know, on the internet. Hey, have you seen this website? Did you see this video on YouTube? That was kind of like the time of at that point where, you know, people were like drawing attention to her, and it was pretty fabulous. So she made a name, and I guess she must have been about 54 years old at that time. So as we get on with the story. In addition to creating games, Monopoly's inventor was also an actress, poet, and a writer of short stories. The themes of pain, romance, nature, and unfairness were constants in her work, which in the fall of 1892, all these numbers again, she bound her poems into a book, which I think Gene needs to do, is put a book together of all his poetry. Mm-hmm. And it was called...
I'd buy it.
Yeah, My Betrothed, and printed off 500 copies.
My what?
My Betrothed.
Betrothed?
Yeah.
As
betrothed.
in
Yes.
fiance?
And she printed up 500 copies, at the most she could afford.
Mm-hmm.
The title poem told the story of a man's love for Roberta, a woman 10 years his junior, whom she had known from birth and loved, with burning soul and body, with an impetuous desire.
Ooh.
So, she's talking about lighting it up there. Maggie, only made $500 from her creation. In 1936, the nation was admissed. Now I'm getting this word all butchered here. AMIDST. In other words, the nation was involved in monopoly craze. Mm-hmm. Charles Darwood and Parker Brothers told the tale of his inventing the game in his basement, which quickly caught on as Horatio Alger's tale of triumph. That year, Lizzie Maggie spoke out in the pages of the Washington Evening Star against it.
He took credit for it.
Yeah, he took credit for it. You know, it's like, and once again, she said, "No, you didn't." And so she spoke out in the Washington Evening Star against it, and the paper reported, and she received $500 for her invention. Probably, if one counts lawyers, printers, and patent office fees, it could used up all that capital that she gained. So in other words, she got the $500, and then, but with all the things that she had to do, she probably just had to pay everybody out that $500. So, you know, then at that point, it's kind of like history. Monopoly, Hasbro takes over, starts manufacturing these things, mass producing them. Wow, I still got pizza on the tongue. But at the end of the day, we should give Lizzie Maggie credit for Monopoly, because she was the woman who created the game itself, and which Hasbro came along and gave it the title Monopoly.
Who was I listening to talking about Monopoly? I think it was Louis C.K. He was talking about his young daughters, were like 6 and 8, and they like playing Monopoly. It's like I think it was 6 and 10. It's like the 10-year-old totally gets how it works. And of course, because he's adult, the 10-year-old was losing. And the 6-year-old gets it, but doesn't have the emotional maturity to deal with it. He says because a Monopoly loss is dark. It's not like losing in Candyland, It's like
or Chutes and Ladders.
Yeah, he says here. He tells the 6-year-old, "Here, it's going to happen, honey. All this money that you owe me, is it going to touch what you owe me on my properties? And then I'm going to take all your money and all your property, and you're going to lose everything." And I'm going to use it to destroy your sister. So, I think Monopoly can get kind of cutthroat with some people, right?
Yeah, and then you're not the rules don't. We kind of played it kind of loosey goosey with the rules. Mm-hmm. Like for example, all the money that gets collected, like you owe the bank $50, or you owe taxes on this. We'd stick them in free parking. But that's not in the rules.
If we played again, you would have to, every time I did a move, you have to explain something to me. So, did that article mention, or your research mention, how and when they discovered she deserved the credit, or?
Well, I think it was at that time when, that gentleman was claiming that he was the one that came up with the idea, and she came along and read it in that news article, and she said, "No, it didn't happen that way. I'm the one that came up with it." And obviously, she won $500 out of it. But
seems like a measly.
Well, back then, $500 was a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
but she had to pay lawyers, and she had to pay this and that, and so at the end of the day, she does get credit for creating the thing. But I think ultimately, after that was settled, it gave Hasbro, or I guess was it? I guess Hasbro at the time.
Yeah,
yes.
I think it would have to be Hasbro.
Yeah,
it's still around.
Well, no, I backtracked.
Parker Brothers.
It was Parker Brothers, but my bad. And so,
do they even exist anymore?
I think that Hasbro has gobbled
Absorbed
up.
them,
Yeah, it gobbled up all those. But it's a great game. I enjoy it. One of my big strategies, as I tell you in Monopoly, is as you're going around, if you set it up to where the first time you go around and nobody can buy properties, immediately, it doesn't matter where you land on, buy it. Because once you start buying up properties, people are going to start making deals with you. And then, plus in the long run, is if you don't want to make a deal with somebody, they could have all the money in the world and have no properties, but you could have properties and still kind of like make sure that you survive. Because the moment you start, letting people set up their own properties to start putting houses and hotels on, man, you're screwed, basically. So
it really does. It really is like capitalism in this country.
It's you could probably apply the same technique.
I assume there's no such thing as monopoly like in this game in Russia. Doesn't exist, probably.
Well, if you took the game with you to Russia, but I know what you're saying, is that Monopoly actually...
It's like, let me introduce you to this. This is mine and you can't have it.
Well, let's remember, we've talked about the captains of industry and how well we learned from them, cornering the market on certain things like oil and steel, and how they made them rich, money over money kind of things. And so... it just goes to show you that the same, people. This game was to show basically people that, hey, monopolies are bad. And when you play it, it's been some controversies with families that have played this game and like, I don't want to play this anymore. And so,
he said you get to find out who has the dark side when you play Monopoly with family. Yeah.
So anyway, that's...
I wonder if that translates to what I feel with Scrabble wins.
Oh, well, you beat me left and right. You are an English major.
And I think you only play me just to patronize me, so...
Well, I mean, a good husband should, if a wife wants to play a game of Scrabble and beat the crap out of him, yeah, I guess that's okay.
You've got a million other talents. Let me have that one. Ain't gonna hurt you.
All right, Surlana. So what do you got over there? Because,
Well,
I've already served up butchered meat, so...
Well, I'm about to do some more, and I don't mean to because this is a foreign language. Okay, I have Qian Xiong Wu.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's correct, but that's the best I can do. I apologize if it's wrong. I really do.
That's impressive.
She is she became a Chinese American woman eventually, but she was a Chinese woman. She was known as the First Lady of Physics. And I don't know how it happened that I've got so many scientist women here, but I don't know, that fascinates me because they all are trying to get into a field that is not for women that usually you get shut out of. So she was born in 1912 in China. She's also known as the Chinese Madame Curie and the Queen of Nuclear Research. How awesome would that be to be known as the Queen of Nuclear Research?
It'd make me fabulous.
So, like I said, she was born in China, and she was the only daughter of 3 children. And education was very important to her family. Her mom was a teacher, and her father was an engineer. So they did encourage her to pursue science and math at an early age, so she didn't have to go up against that whole, oh, well, girls don't do that type of thing. So her family's pro-education, pro-learning. So her father was actually a founding member of an elementary school that she attended later. And then she attended Mingde Women's Vocational Continuing School. And she later on went to enroll in a teaching program over there. So comes around to 1930. So Wu got into one of the oldest and most prestigious schools of higher learning in China, Nanking University, also known as National Central University over there. So when she got to college, she pursued math, but then switched majors to physics because she was inspired at the time by Marie Curie, which we all know. She graduated from top honors head of her class in 1934. After college, she taught for a year and worked in a physics lab, and she conducted her first experimental research, and this was in X-ray crystallography. Not going to pretend I know what that means. Under the mentorship of a female professor, Jing Wei Gu. I don't know if it's Gu or what. So this professor encouraged Qian to go to graduate school. Well, so she did, but she did it at the University of California in 1936. So at the University of California, she met Professor Ernest Lawrence, who won a Nobel Prize. She also met another Chinese student there called Lu Chia Yuan. And he encouraged her to stay and get her PhD. So she did. She got her PhD in 1940 and ended up marrying that guy, Luke. And then they moved to the East Coast, where she accepted an offer to be an instructor at Princeton. She was the first female instructor hired to join Princeton faculty. So the impressive part is that in 1944, and this is to see who's paying attention, she joined the Manhattan Project at Columbia University. Spaceboy, what is the Manhattan Project? Take that pizza out of your mouth.
Man, I had a big old chunk of pizza stuck in my mouth, and she says, I think these are the moments that she she does to me. Manhattan Project is when they were creating the big bomb. Is it safe to put it back in?
Someone is going to extract that audio and do a remix of it.
Hey, September is coming up. The biggest hits of our
greatest
second
hits
season.
of Spaceboy Universe. Anyway, when she joined the Manhattan Project, she helped solve a problem they were having that even Enrico Fermi could not figure out, which is to develop a process to enrich uranium ore so it can produce large quantities of uranium for fuel for atomic bombs. Not saying she should have done this, but she did do it, okay? So when they were doing this, reactor B stopped working mysteriously, and it was Chin who helped identify the reason, and the reason was poisoning by xenon-135. So, if you understand that, awesome. She eventually had a son she named Vincent, and he too would go on to be a nuclear scientist. So in 1945, she left the Manhattan Project, and she spent the rest of her career at Columbia in the Department of Physics, where she became the leading expert in beta decay and weak interaction physics. Again, couldn't tell you what that means. I was an English major. She was approached, so when she was doing these experiments at Columbia, she was approached by two male theoretical physicists, and she worked with them. They asked her to set up an experiment for them. They wanted her help to disprove the law of parity that says atoms or two physical systems that are mirror images of each other behave in identical ways. They wanted to disprove that. So they said, will you set up this experiment to disprove that? So she did. She led the two male physicists in getting that done, and they won the Nobel Prize in 1957 and excluded her because she was a woman. So she didn't get the Nobel Prize. So in October 1964, she was at a symposium, and she stated, quote, I wonder whether the tiny atoms and nuclei or the mathematical symbols or the DNA molecules have any preference for either masculine or feminine treatment. Basically, she's wondering if, the particles that make up the universe care if they're being looked at by a male or a female.
Smart burn, drop mic.
Yeah. Go woo. Some of her life's work includes research on molecular changes in the deformation of hemoglobin that cause sickle cell anemia. She was a big advocate for promoting girls in STEM, and she lectured around to support this cause. She won a lot of accolades in her career. She was the first woman to get a Research Corporation Award in 1958. She was the seventh woman elected to the National Academy of Science. She got the John Price Witherall Medal of Franklin Institute in 1962, the National Academy of Sciences Cyrus B. Comstock Award in Physics. She was the first woman to get that one. The Bonner Prize in 1975, the National Medal of Science in 1975, the Wolf Prize in Physics in 1978, the first woman to receive a SCD, not a PhD, but an SCD from Princeton University in 1958. She was named Scientist of the Year in 1975 by the Industrial Research Magazine, and in the next year she was the first woman to serve as president of the American Physical Society. In 1990, she was honored by the Chinese Academy of Sciences. They named asteroid 2752 after her. She was the first living scientist to get an asteroid named after her or him. So in 1985, the Wu Qian-Xiong Educational Foundation was founded by others in Taiwan, and it was to provide scholarships to aspiring young scientists. So she was posthumously inducted into the American National Women's Hall of Fame. She died from complications of a stroke in February 1996 in New York City at the age of 84. Her remains were cremated, and they rest at the high school that she used to attend, the Women's Vocational Continuing School. And on June 1st, 2002, they erected a bronze statue of her in the place of the courtyard of that same school to commemorate her life. So go woo.
Woo woo. So, another interesting lady of history here.
That I never heard of.
And, which I'm surprised, how she kept it together, but yet burned those other scientists about the Nobel Peace Prize. Or was it Nobel Prize for Science? Probably. Yeah, and just another example of
there's nothing different with our brains. Maybe the size, but what's inside them.
Although our audience probably thinks that your brain is bigger than mine, and I'm, I guess, the puppet.
I don't know what kind of thing it proves to be good at Scrabble, that's it. I just like word stuff.
We circle back to Scrabble.
I just like word stuff. You can wipe the floor with me in Monopoly because I don't care about that game.
Well, I mean, I don't even have a Monopoly game for us to play, and I like.
It's on Steam.
I like how this is circled back to games.
I think it's on Steam.
I'm hearing sticks in my head right now. Games people play.
Mm.
Yeah, so
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, really, you don't remember that one?
Mm-mm. Maybe I knew if I heard it. Maybe during the next break I'll pull it up.
Mm-hmm. So, Surlana, we're not quite to the bottom of the hour. So,
no.
What I'm going to do is go ahead and play some music and get us to the bottom of the hour and into the next thing. But how about the phone lines?
Yeah, I'll do that when you take us to the hour. I'm going to open them up.
All right, so listen to this, and we'll be right back. That's Madness of the Moon, which was featured last year on Coast to Coast AM. I was featured as an emerging artist. I thought that was pretty dang cool. After all these years,
Yeah.
finally,
You emerged.
When I emerged. So, and then also,
After 20 years.
I'd like to make a correction, like I always do for most of the things I say on this program. It was not Styx that played the song. It was the Alan Parsons Project, Games People Play. So there you go. I've corrected myself, which until the show ends, in some distant future, you're probably going to get a few of those along the way.
Yeah.
So, Surlana.
You next or me next?
I thought, is it me next? Well, okay.
If you want to.
I know that is somebody trying to call the studio? That was probably.
They were asking for the number.
Okay, so the number to call in the studio is 844-734-7286. That's 844-734-SBUN. That's okay, Surlana. I got your back here. And so that is the toll-free number to call into the studio. The person I have next, and feel free to stop me at any time while I get into this, is Grace Hopper. She was the computer trailblazer who invented one of the first easy-to-use computer languages.
Cool.
COBOL.
COBOL.
Yeah, and so
that's still around.
I believe in some basic languages, but it's not like one of the main languages. But she helped develop a compiler that was the precursor to the widely used COBOL language and became a rear admiral in the U.S. Navy. So
someday I want to find out why they're rear admirals.
Maybe Gene, do you know? Our military expert.
Do they only do admiral things in the rear, or
Oh my goodness!
Of the ship?
Here, I thought I was bad about
of the ship because it's Navy, right?
Pizza in my mouth, and so
I wish y'all could see what I was seeing when I stopped and asked him what that was. We do have a call. I think I know who it is.
Go ahead and put him through.
Let's see.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hey, Bev, how are you tonight?
Well, I'm fine. How are you doing?
Well, I'm stuffed like pizza, and it's pretty good. And I've been busted with Surlana over there. While I had pizza in my mouth, she's like, "Over to you, Jim."
He's like, I wish you could see what I was saying.
And so
he's got like a big hunk hanging out of his mouth.
And I had to pull it out of my mouth slowly, not to lose anything out of my mouth, just so I could continue talking.
Funny.
Yeah, it was one of those scenes from the movies, So, but yeah.
We went to his cousin's graduation party and ate a little too much.
Uh-oh. Stay downwind, Robert.
No.
So, how's it been? It's been a week since we talked to you last. You doing all right? Everything fabulous with you?
Oh, yeah. Just tired. Been a busy week.
I can hear Robert.
You what?
I can hear Bob laughing in the background.
Yeah, gotta love his laugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could be in a crowd of people and I not be able to find him, and I hear his laugh. What do you call it?
Gravitate to it?
Yeah, there you go. So I can't even think straight tonight.
It's one of those nights. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm like blah 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 blah. I just can't get the words out.
Yeah.
And but when I'm free-forming, just going with emotions, it seems to be okay. And it's been today has been kind of a crazy day. Finally got some fundage that we're finally getting ready to do our studio, and we're excited about that. And so it's just like rush, and tomorrow's going to be another one of those.
Oh, tomorrow's going to be hilarious because we're going to attempt to paint.
Yeah, we're going to paint. And so, I am going to break down and go to the Home Depot and buy a spray gun to...
or maybe you'll paint and I'll just watch
you'll probably
from a safe
help
distance.
Me do some masking because I know how you are about how I did this room. and this was kind of a rush. The
Well,
Red Room.
he let the paint sit too long in the can for a while, like over weeks and weeks, and it got separated. You can tell by looking at the wall something ain't right. Or maybe it just looks like the walls are actually
right.
It kind of looks like the walls actually bled blood.
That's why I think you've called this the murder room.
Yeah, you want to put that back in the murder room, or?
But no, this time I'm going to buy a spray can gun thingy, whatchamacallit, and we've got that all lined up. We've got to hit Guitar Center tomorrow too, which will be fun. Walmart is on the agenda, and
And you feel like doing a party call, Bev?
Sure.
Let's see who this is.
I like parties.
Caller, are you there? 'Cause I think I know who it is.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Ty.
Hey, Ty.
Hi there.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. How about you?
Good. Good listening to the show. Thank you very much for putting mine first, the one I suggested first.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, we love Canadians, Ty, you know, and we think of y'all all the time. So when you have a suggestion, we listen.
And
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you very much.
They're in the news. The Canadians, one of the greats are coming out of retirement. Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis are going to reunite, and they might do the Great White North skit for charity because Dave Thomas has a nephew who has a spinal cord injury and he's currently paralyzed, so they might be raising money for that or for the cause. So they're going to get together with like Martin Short and some of the other greats, maybe Mike Myers. You're going to pull out everybody who's, the Canadian great comedian. So that's, I instantly thought about, you guys up there, and the first time I heard the word hoser was on that show, and I didn't know what it meant.
That would be great, seeing all them together again.
Mm-hmm.
It sure would, yeah.
Still don't know what that means, but who cares?
I still don't know what hoser means.
No.
So.
Something bad or no?
Oh.
I'm a Canadian and I don't know what it means.
Really?
It's a thing of mystery.
It's one of my favorite.
That should be the homework assignment.
One of my favorite movies was The Great White North with Spud.
Not Spuds McKenzie.
There I go. I did my Gene Hackman thing tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Spuds McKenzie in The Great White North. That's a different one.
Wearing a coat and little goggles.
But the interesting thing is in that movie, who played the father of them?
Who?
And now my mind, the Mr. Bugs Bunny man himself.
Not Mel Blanc.
Mel
Blanc?
Yes, played the father. I mean,
you
don't really see him.
Wow.
Dennis says it means idiot.
Or another name for a donkey is what he also says too.
Or your posterior.
Take off, hosehead. But anyway, it was a good movie, and
It's a great one.
it'll be interesting to see them reunite and what they would come out with.
I think Moranis retired because I think he wanted to devote time to family, and there might have been some kind of medical thing to address.
I also heard that he made mad money off of.
He made so much money.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, from that he didn't have to ever work again, and if you don't have to, why bother? I guess
Exactly.
Love to be in that situation.
I love the song Great White.
Oh,
Remember that song, Great White North?
No.
I think that was before my time.
I love
before
that
my
song.
time.
Well, Ty,
I was going to tell you my.
I was going to say, Ty,
tell you my favorite.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, chime in. We haven't heard from you in ages, and
it gives us a chance to have pizza while both one of you talk. So.
Well, I was going to say my favorite pizza is bacon and fresh tomato.
Okay.
Ooh, mine is a deluxe.
Fresh tomato or French
Absolutely
tomato?
I think he said fresh.
Fresh.
Now,
That's what I thought he said, French.
In full disclosure, my favorite is I like to have Italian sausage, occasional green peppers, but I also like Canadian bacon and ham. I mean, Canadian bacon and pineapple.
Mm. Well, that's like a Hawaiian pizza, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
He gets that on half the pizza, and I get one on, I want on my half. And just a minute ago, I bit into one of mine, one of his toppings straight over to mine, and I thought I was going to gag.
What was it, a pineapple?
I don't know, but it did taste a little fruity and sweet. I'm like,
look, don't knock the fruity and sweet, because it is good on a pizza.
That's just like you, dear, fruity and sweet.
That's who I was trying to think of. Geddy Lee.
Geddy Lee, huh? Oh, another Canadian from
We
Rush.
love the Great White skit with Geddy Lee.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. Take off to the Great White North. Everybody, plug your ears.
Well, anything else on your mind, Ty?
Or Bev.
Or Bev.
Well, I was going to mention that the one you're bringing up next, the famous woman that invented COBOL.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that I was trained in COBOL.
Oh, really?
Is it still around, or is it just
Wow.
a basic principle? You good to know.
It's an old language. You might have some government installations that still use it, but it stands for Common Business Language, oriented language, and it's non-symbolic, so it doesn't use symbols. It uses as words. So if you want to multiply something by something else, you actually type out the words. So A multiplied by B, as opposed to using symbols. You understand what I mean, Spaceboy?
Oh yeah, I mean
Get pizza out your mouth.
Yeah, I'm nothing in my mouth right now. But I mean, I think that's a great language. You know, just you type it in, no symbols, no pound signs, no dollar signs, no question marks. You know, because I'm thinking basic, and so you know, you've got asterisks. I mean, just different things to facilitate certain commands to do
So I
things.
taught myself CSS and HTML, but I don't know if that's really a language. But I can't do anything beyond that. Brain just.
Those are called inline languages.
Mm-hmm. I can't do like C# or C+ or ASP or any of the .NETs. That just escapes me.
I can carry a B flat. Don't.
I can't carry no flat. I'm
I
tone
couldn't
deaf.
carry
so
a tune if it was in a bucket.
Amen.
Don't.
I couldn't either.
You also can't rap either. But I don't know if you've ever tried. Well, I don't know. Does singing West End Girls count? Because that's sort of rap.
That's a rapish
That's a
thing.
rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that counts.
Kind of rapish.
I've covered that song.
I love that song.
Mm-hmm. You know,
you know who the first female rapper was?
Who was that?
It was Bob. Who was that? That first female rapper, Blondie.
Yeah. She did that rap.
Yep.
Fab Five Freddy. Mm-hmm.
See, now I'm humming it in my head. Was it Rapture?
Rapture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
You know, when they did get commercially successful, the band really hated it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to do anything
like
you
that.
know, like Call Me and House of Glass. They felt
Heart
like
of Glass.
A Heart of Glass.
Heart of Glass, yeah.
And everybody knows me by now. Just read
they
between
were
the lines.
good. I
people.
love their music.
But yeah, the band thought it was like going, being, you know.
I
wasn't true
do
to their
have
style.
a music lady in the lined up here to talk about when you get done.
Okay, well, I would like to hear this musical lady. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, thank you both for calling tonight. And Ty, there is a package going to the Great White North.
As soon as it gets, scanned and
it may
probed.
say Dennis's name, but make sure you get it from him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Dennis doesn't.
Oh,
want
definitely.
That. I don't think Dennis is interested in that stuff.
All right, guys. As always, we love you here at the Universe.
We love you too.
And we love you too from Canada.
Oh, most
Yay!
All right. Good night, y'all.
That's two people.
Yippee!
Enjoy your pizza.
Yes.
Night.
Good night.
Good night. Love you guys.
Bye,
Bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, in full disclosure, tonight's pizza was brought to you by Domino's. Is what
Not
we
sponsored.
Ordered. Not sponsored. The thing is that Surlana doesn't like Papa John's. I'm not a big fan of Pizza Hut.
I don't care for CC's because that's just a place for kids to go and stick their fingers in things.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When I'm cheap, which is sometimes, just a grab and go, and I'll go to CC's.
You want to finish yours, or?
Well, we don't have much time left in this segment. Just, I guess, basically, let's see here.
I could probably
Grace Hopper,
yeah.
like I said, computer programmer, Grace Hopper helped develop a compiler that was the precursor to the widely used COBOL language and became a rear admiral. Did you ever get your response from anybody out there about rear admirals?
Yeah, he said it's the lowest ranking admiral. I said, so they stick him in the rear of the ship? Or because they're low ranking?
Maybe it's kind of like ensign. It's all Navy terms, but ensign and the highest ranking star captain. I was going to say Star Lord. I've got Galaxy or the Galaxy on.
I wouldn't mind going seeing that again.
That was a good movie. But anyway, she was born in New York City in 1906. She joined the U.S. Navy during World War II and was assigned to program the Mark I computer. Sound familiar? It sounds like Star Trek, doesn't it? The Mark I computer. She continued to work in compiling after the war, leading the team that created the first computer language compiler, which led to the popular COBOL language. She resumed active naval service at the age of 60 and became a rear admiral before retiring in 1986. Hopper died in Virginia in 1992.
She was an innovator.
No, she definitely was, and
I didn't know COBOL was invented by a woman. Mm-hmm. That's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, so she was the genesis behind it. Let's see here. During World War II, Hopper, who became an associate professor
mm-hmm.
at Vassar, here's Vassar again.
Women's College.
Yes, continued to teach until World War II. Compelled her to join the U.S. Naval Reserve in December of 1943. She opted for the Navy as it was because of her grandfather's branch of service. So she was commissioned as a lieutenant in June of 1944. Given her mathematical background, Hopper was assigned to the Bureau of Ordnance Computation Project at Harvard University, where she learned to program the Mark I computer.
Man, these department names.
Yeah, I tell you. And it's kind of similar to the lady you were talking to about, I guess, at the beginning. Vassar and Harvard and, following similar career paths. So, career in computing. After the war, Hopper remained with the Navy as a reserve officer. As a researcher fellow at Harvard, she worked with the Mark II and the Mark III computers. She was at Harvard when a moth was found to have shorted out the Mark II. A moth.
A moth chewed through something, or
it made a connection and zapped something out.
Oh God.
Yeah, nothing worse than that reminds me of the stories of computers that I've found in the things that have been inside
them.
I have found
toenails and stuff.
I found the hair of a mouse, but no mouse. Just completely. You could have built a new mouse off of it. I've found other bugs that would make you crawl. Ants have been known to short out equipment too. I found ants into computer equipment, so it's not
unreasonable. Okay.
And then back then, these computers were huge.
Mm-hmm. Could have taken you days to find that moth.
Yeah, so apparently a moth, was known to was found to have shortened out one of the computers, and is sometimes given credit for the invention of the term computer bug.
Oh.
Though she didn't actually author the term, she did help popularize it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a little factoid in history there. So let's see.
That's dang cool.
Yeah, wanting to continue to work with computers, Hopper moved into private industry in 1949. First with the Eckerd. I'm going to butcher all this. Here it goes again. Eckerd Macaulay Computer Corporation, and then with Remington Rand, very popular and well-known, the Rand Corporation, where she oversaw programming for the UNIVAC computer. In 1952,
the old computer.
The old computer. In 1952, her team created the first compiler for the computer languages. A compiler renders worded instructions into code that can be read by computers. This computer was the precursor for the common business oriented. Thank you. I know you're going to kill me later.
There's no such word as orientated.
Oriented language, or COBOL, a widely adapted language that would. She's giving me the English eye right now. Would be used around the world. Though she did not invent COBOL, Hopper encouraged its adoption. So, a little history with her, and
I like the computer bug thing.
Yeah, that is. I like little things like that in history. That, and now you know the rest of the story. So, we're a little bit early for the top of the hour, Surlana.
I remember my parents when I was little watching 60 Minutes. It's so boring.
I'm Paul Schaefer.
Gosh, it was so boring.
Well, Paul Schaefer would be would be. And I'm Andy Rooney. You ever notice how annoying my voice is?
Yeah, they did that like on SNL and stuff like that.
Joe Piscopo, of all people, did a little skit. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, you're listening to Spaceboy Universe. I'm Spaceboy. Who are you?
I'm still here.
Yeah, as always. So let's go ahead and crank out some tunage, and when we come back,
I'll tell you about Music Lady.
Awesome. I love music.
are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
We're back.
Yeah,
We are.
from outer space.
And I have no sad look on my face.
Good, because we've had pizza and we are stuffed.
Life is good right now.
And we've got a in-studio guest, but she's being quiet for once. She's taking a bath.
Our cat, Muffin.
But she's preoccupied with getting her tail clean. So I wanted to, if we're talking about music and all this, excuse me, good stuff, I want to tell you about, well, you may have heard of this woman because I think we're getting to that point where we want to attribute credit where credit's supposed to be due. But have you heard of Big Mama or Willie Mae Thornton? You may not know her.
I was actually shaking my head, yes.
Excuse me.
But go ahead.
I don't know why I want to cough all of a sudden. I gotta take a swig. Hold on.
All right, so play by play. She's coughing. She's taking a sip. We're almost there. She's shaking her head like...
I only want to cough while I'm talking.
It's the crud.
I don't know what it is. It's right. Look, it's right here.
Yeah, I know.
It's right there.
I have the same thing. I live with you.
Anyway, you may not know her, but you know her, two of her songs. You've heard Elvis sing He Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, and you've heard Janis Joplin sing Ball and Chain. She wrote both of those songs and performed them. Willie Mae Thornton was a singer, a songwriter, and a blues legend who was born at Ayrton, Alabama in 1926. And I got more Southern as I said it.
I was getting ready to say, man, you went down the Southern stick real quick.
Well, I really am. So she had a powerful singing voice, and she had sexually explicit lyrics that probably don't seem that bad today, but back then in 1920s, 30s was like, ooh. So Willie Mae got exposed to music from a young age because her church, because her father was the minister of the church she grew up in. So she was, always in the choir, along with her mom and 6 other siblings. Unfortunately, her mom died when Willie Mae was 16. So she went and took a job at the local saloon to help out, with the household income. And so I guess maybe she was singing there. She got discovered there by music promoter Sammy Green, and he had her join his Hot Harlem Review, which was based in Atlanta. And she stayed with that group for 7 years. And she even contributed to the group by playing drums and some harmonica in some of the shows. So in 1948, she moved here to Houston to really advance her singing career. She did well here in Houston. She had her singing contract in 1951 with Peacock Records, her first recording deal. And in the next year, in 1952, she recorded Hound Dog, her biggest hit. Now, ownership of this song is still a matter of dispute. Both Johnny Otis, Jerry Lieber, and Mike Stoller have all claimed credit for the song. But it did reach number 1 on the R&B charts for 1952, and this made Thornton a star, but she didn't make a big a splash with it as Elvis Presley did, because Elvis could target young white audience. So she wasn't given much credit or any much compensation for her version of Hound Dog. Yet by the early 1960s, her fame kind of began to wane because she tried to do some follow-up hits called I Smell a Rat and The Fish, which I'm going to try to look up.
I think I recall The Fish, yeah.
They weren't hits like her previous two, so she left Houston and moved to San Francisco. And while she was there, she performed locally. And but now it's the 60s, and, around this time, people are starting to take an interest in folk and blues music. This is the mid-1960s. And this kind of helped revive her career. So Willie Mae did a European tour in 1965 as part of the American Folk Blues Festival, and she performed at the Monterey Jazz Festival in 66 and 68. So, but yet again, another artist would achieve greater fame with one of her songs when more than Willie Mae ever did with Ball and Chain. Janis Joplin did a cover of Ball and Chain at one of these festivals, but it did help raise more interest in Willie Mae. And so she eventually signed with Mercury Records in 1969. Now she finally achieved commercial success with Mercury, and she continued to play at festivals, including the Newport Jazz Festival, which was a big deal. So she was known for her tough demeanor. She had a powerful voice. She dressed in men's clothing and drank heavily throughout her adult life. In fact, they think drinking may have contributed to her death by heart attack when she suffered a heart attack in Los Angeles in 1984 at only the age of 57. Her funeral was attended by many blues legends. Even her collaborator Johnny Otis was there. But she was inducted to the Blues Hall of Fame in 84. And Ball and Chain is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame list of 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. So every time I hear Hound Dog, I'm going to think of her.
Well, that's quite an interesting story. I mean, I've known of her, and I knew of that song, "The Fish."
Really?
And it's just little bits and pieces that I recall of her being here in Houston at one point.
Oh, yeah.
And
I forget you've been around.
Yeah, I've been around a long time. But not as long as some others, but not as short as others.
Okay.
All right. So what else?
You got anything? You want me to do more?
Well, I don't have another thing unless you would like me to do a few speed people. In other words, let's see here what I have on my list here.
Speedy history.
Speedy history. Mother Teresa, I know well known. Founder of the religious group of nuns in Calcutta, India. Mother Teresa devoted her life to aiding the sick and the poor.
But she's
people
well known.
around the world. Hey, I'm speed saying. Maya Lin, born in 1960. As the designer of two of America's most powerful monuments, the Civil Rights Memorial in Montgomery, Alabama, and the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C., Lynn has distinguished herself as the most acclaimed site-specific architect of contemporary America. Because of her concern for the environment issues, she's used recycled living or natural materials and focuses on sustainable and site-sensitive design solutions. There's another one there for you. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of another one here for you while I'm just kind of going through my list here. Shirley Jackson. Jackson is the former head of the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Where she reaffirmed the agency's commitment to public health and safety. She is the first female African American to receive a doctorate from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Dr. Jackson's outstanding leadership in education, science, and public policy demonstrates the capability of women to be leaders in the field of science and technologies. So there's a few there, and let's see. You want me to throw another one into the mix?
Sure, one more.
No, let's see here. Type it into the computer, and this one's well known, but I still wanted to bring her up. Ella Fitzgerald. Considered one of the greatest jazz singers of all time. Ella Fitzgerald was a winner of 12 Grammy Awards and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
She had a great voice.
What, one more for the road for you?
I mean,
I can keep going down this list.
I'm about to shoot myself in the foot because I got a bunch of French names I got to figure out how to pronounce.
Oh, la, la, la. Let's get started. Well, first off, why don't you have the French lingo down, considering you're from Louisiana?
I am from Northwest Louisiana, which has little to nothing to do with the French part, which is all deep, deep southern
I don't
Louisiana.
know why you deny your family that we've seen on Swamp People so many times. And
we didn't have any swamps. We had lakes and bayous, but not that many swamps where I'm from. Pretty white bread. Oh.
So why don't we get into this women that you have over there?
Well, sorry for the meowing you're hearing. The cat is back. Yeah, this is a huge unprofessional night. Eating pizza live on the air. Cats walking in while we're trying to talk to you. All right. So I don't know how to speak French or pronounce these, but maybe our two Canadian friends who are listening, maybe they can. The last name is Guy, so I'm going to assume that's pronounced Guy. Alice Guy Blaché. I'm going to call her Alice. So, and it's a shame that I personally never heard of this woman because she was a major pioneer of early 20th century cinema. She's one of the first people to make a narrative fiction film. She made over 1,000 films, and she ran her own film studio in New Jersey. She experimented with sound syncing, color tinting, interracial casting, and special effects before anybody else ever thought about doing it. Just the sound syncing part impresses me because here I am with sophisticated digital programs such as Adobe Premiere trying to sync up an audio track with a video track, and I'm about to take an axe and just bust everything up. So kudos to this lady. Alice was born in Paris, France in 1873, so keep that in mind. This is all really super groundbreaking. What's funny is Alice's mother, when she was pregnant with Alice, sailed all the way back to France just so Alice could be born on French soil. So meanwhile, Alice's father, Emile Guy, was in Chile running a successful publishing company. So Alice was born in France, and they kept her there so she could be with her grandmother, and she went to a convent school there and on the French border. So I guess when she got older, they said, okay, join up with a family in Chile. So her father died shortly after his business failed. So Alice decided she'd get trained on some kind of, occupation. I'm sorry, the cat is having a fit inside of a cardboard box and just having a great time there. That's what that noise is. So she decided she would train as a typist and a stenographer. Muffin has got a piece of paper and she's chewing it to pieces. I'm sorry. So at the age of 21, Alice Guy joined a still photography company as a secretary to Léon Gaumont, where she witnessed the evolution of early 60mm motion picture cameras. Would you calm down? We're trying to do a show. Thank you. So she saw the first 60mm motion picture camera, so Gaumont said, oh, got to get the rights to this, so they did. So Alice assisted people such as Émile Zola, Gustave Eiffel, and aviator Santos Dumont in using Gaumont's equipment to record their work. So, Gaumont had all this film equipment, and so she learned how to run it and help record, things, I'm guessing, like the Eiffel Tower and, flight. So she and Gaumont attended a private screening of some footage that the Lumiere brothers shot on this new thing called the 35mm camera. I know what you're about to do. Alice asked Gaumont if she could use that camera to film a new story. Sorry, Spaceboy is doing things to make me laugh. That got her. So, 1896, Alice wrote, produced, and directed her first film called The Cabbage Fairy. And she shot it on the back patio of the Gaumont Laboratories. And she used special effect techniques that she learned from another photographer. So this is how many of Alice's films were identified because, people recognized the patio where she was filming. So Alice enthusiastically embraced the art of motion pictures. She managed to crank out hundreds of short films while working with Gaumont. Eventually, he made her head of production. Now, that's unheard of. This is the late 1800s. That's a big freaking deal. And I just pause right there so you know that. Putting women in charge of anything that's not to do with children is completely unheard of at this point. So some of her groundbreaking work includes films with color tinting she experimented with, Gaumont's chronophone, which is a device for sound syncing. She kept up with the latest advancements in film at the time. But, of course, there was some drama, some friction because of her being a woman. So she hired her own assistant. And he was a male assistant. Well, one time she had a male assistant. He deliberately sabotaged her work to try to get her fired so he could take her job. But fortunately, people like Gustav Eiffel and some others defended Alice, and she got to keep her job. But she went on to be a force in pioneering concepts in films, such as going on location to shoot. That was Alice's idea. And she did that. She went on location when she first hired an English cameraman named Herbert, Blache, E with an accent. Figure out how you'd like to pronounce that. And they ended up married in 1906, and they moved to the U.S. So when they're in the U.S., Alice sets up and runs Galmont's New York office while she was pregnant with her first child. So to put this in perspective, when she moved to the U.S., she had already made 1,000 films to her name, while filmmakers like the famous D.W. Griffith were just getting started. She opened a studio she named Solax in Flushing, Queens, but she later moved it to Fort Lee, New Jersey, while pregnant with her second child. So in the Solax studio, she continued to make innovative filmmaking techniques with experimenting with, some of the, she started to do interracial casting and writing scripts that were very clever. Again, some things that were unheard of at the time, but she put her husband Herbert in charge of Solax so she could concentrate on doing some more experimentation, but he resigned in under a year after being put in charge, and then her husband went and created a rival company. But they continued to work together till World War I started, and that slowed down, film production for everybody. Then Herbert ran off to California with an actress, so he and Alice divorced. Alice moved back to France with her children, and I guess they had some hard times, so she had to rely on her daughter Simone for financial support. But still, Alice shaped filmmaking into what we know as today, with concepts such as crafting stories, scripts, filming on location, creating the role of a director, experimenting with technologies for color, sound, and special effects. Now, when the late 1940s rolled around, she noticed she was not mentioned in the historical record of filmmaking. It didn't include her, so she, instead of, getting huffy about it, she went to go on a lecture tour or speaking engagements, and she took Galmont's son, Louis, with her, who supported her a lot, and she turned her attention to writing her memoirs, although she didn't publish them during her time. But her daughter found the memoirs and had them published later after she passed. Now, Alice came back to New Jersey with Simone in 1965 and passed away in 1968. What a long life. The French government presented Alice with the Legion of Honor, the highest civilian honor that you can get, in 1953. The Fort Lee Film Commission has been working hard to get Alice Guy instated in the New Jersey Hall of Fame, as well as have a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame. It's a shame, you could get some idiot like Justin Bieber out there, but you can't get the woman who invented the whole game on this Walk of Fame. But in 2012, Martin Scorsese gave her a posthumous Directors Guild of America Lifetime Achievement Award, and he said, quote, "It is the hope and intention of the DGA that by presenting this posthumous special directorial award for lifetime achievement, the Guild can both raise awareness of exceptional director and bring greater recognition to the role of women in film history." So I was glad to find out about her.
Indeed. Fascinating read there, and just another fine example of women in history that doing their thing. Do you have another lady there that's French that you have on deck there?
Oh, well, basically that and the Chinese stuff I knew that was going to throw me.
But surprisingly, you hit the Chinese pretty
I'm
good.
just going off of phonetic reading, what it looks like, it sounds like. It's probably not correct.
Or Mandarin, whatever your flavor is.
Yeah, there's different flavors of Chinese.
Did you have another French
language
lady there? Or?
No, I have an American.
Let's go ahead and do that, and
That's
then
my
we'll
last
take
one.
a break, and then I've got one last one too as well.
And then I guess if we run out of women, we can always go back to topics we missed from last time. Okay. Have you heard of Valerie Thomas? There's another scientist. I don't know how they got to be all scientific here.
A lot of science ladies out there, kind of like that movie about the ladies who worked for NASA.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. That's who this is.
Okay.
She's, well, Valerie Thomas is an African-American scientist, inventor, who's known for her patented illusion transmitter and contributions to NASA research. Mm-hmm. She was born in 1943 in Maryland. So as a young girl, she was fascinated with technology, and at the age of 8, she found this book at the library called The Boy's First Book on Electronics. She took this book home and showed it to her father, hoping that he would help her do some of the projects in the book, but he didn't. Her father himself liked to tinker around with radios and television, but wouldn't help Valerie. So I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if he was, this didn't say if, he was like, well, girls don't do that, or he just didn't want to have anything to do with her. It doesn't say. So I don't know what the backstory is there. So Valerie attended an all-girls high school, which didn't really help foster her interest in technology, because this was a time when scientific subjects were not considered suitable or important for women. That just makes me want to punch things. So again, there's no one in Valerie's life to encourage her interest, but that didn't stop her. So by the time college comes around, she got enrolled at Morgan State University, and she was one of only 2 women to major in physics there. And despite not having one in her life to encourage her, she was an excellent student at college. She soon gained the knowledge she needed of mathematics that eventually got her a position as a mathematician data analyst at NASA. Mm-hmm. So once she was at NASA, she did very well, and she moved up and got a position managing the development of NASA's image processing system for Landsat. Landsat was the first satellite to send images from outer space to Earth, in case we all forgot. So in 1976, Valerie was at a scientific exhibition, and she saw something there that would put her on a path of inventing something really cool. So what she saw at this exhibition, and I'm quoting, was an illusion of a glowing light bulb that had been unscrewed and removed from its socket. It had been created using a second light bulb pointing downward in a socket beneath the top socket and employing a concave mirror to produce the illusion of the lit light bulb, unlike flat mirrors, which produce images that appear to be inside or behind the mirror. Concave mirrors create images that appear to be real or in front of the mirror, if you understand that. So that exhibition really intrigued her, and she wondered how such an image could be transmitted in the same manner that other images were transmitted at the time, during the 70s. So in 1977, she began experimenting with this, and she set up equipment to observe this relationship between an object and its real image relative to the positions of concave mirrors. So she believed that it could be possible to present and transmit these kinds of realistic three-dimensional images, and then maybe this could lead to improvements in video and television. So she patented this in 1980, and she called it, it's the illusion transmitter, which sounds cool and magical and mystical to me. Basically what this is try to describe this, is it uses a concave mirror on the transmitting end and on the receiving end as well. So you've got 2 concave mirrors on 2 ends of, I guess, a communication system or something. Mm-hmm. These mirrors produce optical illusion images. NASA uses this technology today, so scientists are working on methods to incorporate it into tools for surgeons to look inside the human body and for TV and video screens. And I'm pausing here because we're talking about, okay, she did this in 1980, but this article said they're still looking into using it. I'm like, it's 2017, and how long is it taking them to figure that out?
Right.
Just saying, maybe step it up, NASA. So Valerie contributed to computer program designs for researching Halley's Comet, ozone hole studies, Voyager satellite development, She even received many awards from NASA, including the Goddard Space Flight Center Award of Merit, the NASA Equal Opportunity Medal. She continues to mentor students via the National Technical Association, the Science, Mathematics, Aerospace, Research, and Technology Incorporate. Now, I didn't have time to go deeper in researching her, but what I'd like to know about her and some of these other ones, especially in Valerie's case, did her father live long enough to see her get into college, get a job at NASA, get all these awards, make all this groundbreaking stuff? If he did, what did he think of it? Did he think it was inappropriate for a woman? Was he proud? Was he annoyed? Did he feel guilty that he didn't help her out? That's like things you'll never get to know. So just, we'll be proud for her.
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of sad that, hold on, my phone's acting crazy here.
What are you doing?
It's one of those things where you put the phone down and it starts playing the stupid commercial. So, yeah, it's kind of sad because I know if I had a kid and the kid showed any kind of interest in what I did, I would be jazzed. I mean,
I'm interested in what you do.
Passing on my knowledge to, to my youngster and
Tad.
Tad. Anyway, so
if we just had more time in the day, I'd love to learn Reason. Because it seems to operate on some of the same principles as the Adobe products. So,
and what Surlana is talking about is the program that I use for writing music. Is called Reason from Propellerhead, and
software.
I know I'm not sponsored by them, but it is one of the greatest gifts of music creation that anyone can have. The fact is that it's a great digital workstation to work with. You can, when you look at it, it looks like you're looking at an actual rack module. If you went to go produce music, it's got the bells and whistles on this thing is just phenomenal. I have not personally tapped into its full potential. As a musician, only because I have a certain style of things I do, but the more lately the guitar parts on the last album I did from Unique Technique is just a phenomenal thing. So I'm sorry, I'm going down the rabbit hole. I apologize. I think what I wanted to say was that you could easily there's a stripped down model to where you could try it out. Mm-hmm. And we can get that for you, and so that you can play around and make your own music stuff.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So there you go. So speaking of music, Surlana, let's take a break here, and when we come back, I think I have. Do you have one more, or is that it for you?
This is where I handed it off to you.
Okay. So I have my last one, and then I guess we'll kind of just make our way to the end and do some housekeeping and get people up to date on some things. So don't touch that dial. So as always, during our breaks are always interesting here at the SBU. Saturday nights we usually come down to the one thing that we dread the most, and what are we going to eat next week for dinners? And
they usually say we haven't had the talk yet.
Yeah, we haven't had the talk, and I pretty much come up with like, okay, do this, do this, do this, and so I just. I don't know what else to say.
Well, it just comes to the fact I'm tired of it. I'm tired of chopping, bringing it home, putting it up, taking it out, cooking it, getting things dirty, cleaning it up.
I'm involved in the process.
I just want to burn it down and run away.
Run away. Anyway, so
Copyright.
I want to tell you about Victoria Woodhull.
Okay, that sounds cool.
This may be very brief and to the point.
Cool.
Women's rights leader Victoria Woodhull, though not especially well known today, once attracted more media attention than just about any female in the United States. A jack of all trades, Woodhull alternatively tried her hand at stockbroking, newspaper publishing, lobbying, public speaking, clairvoyancy, among many things, and even ran. Get this, you ready? Here's the kick in the gut here.
What?
She ran for president long before women won the right to vote.
Cool.
Her unconventional lifestyle and radical political views helped her make powerful friends and equally powerful enemies. So she was the first woman to run for president. Basically, she received almost no formal education. Victoria, I guess her last name's Claflin, which was later became Victoria Woodhull, was born on September 23rd, 1938, to an illiterate mother and a petty criminal father.
Wow.
1838, that's what we're talking about,
Oh, my goodness. I thought we were talking about, like, early,
Not 19... did
20s.
I say 1938? I meant to say 1800s. So you kind of get that...
well, dang.
That seems logical, because we've talked about many people where the father didn't want to work and he was a drunk, or, it was just hardships during that time because, things were changing,
Mm-hmm.
One of 10 children, Woodhull did not start elementary school until she turned 8. She then attended off and on for only 3 years before dropping out. Any hope of further education was dashed at age 15 when she married a doctor. Well, at least she married a doctor.
Married a doctor, honey.
Who also revealed himself as an alcoholic and a
philanderer?
Thank you.
Not a philanthropist.
Yeah, there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
Although one might say that
you can't have a philandering philanthropist who's also a philatelist.
Okay, good. To make matters even more difficult, she gave birth to a mentally handicapped son in 1854. Sad. But moving on, she worked as a traveling clairvoyant.
What?
Yeah, I know. Just jacks of all different trades, as they say. As a child in rural Ohio, Woodhull purportedly believed that she could communicate with her 3 siblings who had died in infancy, and that she could heal the sick. Always on the lookout for a good money-making scheme, her father put her and her sister, Tennessee, to work telling fortunes and contacting the spirits. The family also went into the alternative healing business, selling life elixirs, giving massages, and offering cures for diseases ranging from cancer to asthma. But although Woodhull later claimed to have made a small fortune during the Civil War as a traveling medical clairvoyant, she and Tennessee both had their share of setbacks. Tennessee, for example, was indicted for manslaughter in Illinois after one of her cancer patients died. So don't be going around making, claims that you can cure people when they die. So, speeding ahead, she was the first woman to address a congressional committee. Woodhull attended a female suffrage convention in 1869, and became a devout believer in the cause. Not long afterward, she befriended Massachusetts Congressman Benjamin Butler, from whom she was given an invitation to testify before the House I can't even say it now. What is it? No, it's Judiciary.
Judiciary?
Yeah, thank you. Committee. On January 11th, 1871, Woodhull declared to the panel that women had already won the right to vote under the recently enacted 14th and 15th Amendments. Women are citizens, she argued. The citizen who is taxed should also have a voice in the subject of the matter of taxation. Although the committee rejected her petition to pass enabling legislation, her history-making appearance immediately propelled her into a leadership position among suffrage. Help me out again.
Suffragette?
Thank you.
Suffragette City?
Exactly. So wrapping this part up, she was the first woman to run for president, as I said, in 1870 of April. Just 2 months after opening her brokerage firm, she announced her candidacy. I need something to drink, to be honest with you. That's what's tying me
Did you drink all yours?
Yeah, I'm all drinked out.
I got some.
So give me a second here.
I got to stand up because we can't reach each other very easily.
Let's
not
see.
gonna happen.
She campaigned on the platform of women's suffrage, regulation of monopolies, nationalization of railroads, an 8-hour workday, direct taxation, and the discontinuing of the death penalty and welfare for the poor, among other things. Pause.
Pause for effect.
Thank you, my dear. Hopefully that gets me through. I can feel my throat, like.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
And I guess in addition to promoting herself in her weekly newsletter, Woodhull organized an equal rights party, which nominated her at its May 1872 convention. Famed abolitionist Frederick Douglass was selected as her running mate. He never acknowledged it. However, in fact, campaigned for the Republican Ulysses S. Grant. Woodhull was furthermore hurt by embarrassing details about her private life, which came to light during a lawsuit that her mother brought against her second husband. In the end, Woodhull's name appeared on ballots in at least some states. No one knows how many votes she received because they apparently were not counted. So there's a little history about about her, and there's definitely more there. But I wanted to bring that one up because she was the first woman to run for president of the United States.
Never heard of her. That's fascinating. Seems like she had a healthy opinion of herself. Very confident.
As I read about her, her life seems very colorful. I mean, her father,
to say the least.
Her father being, I guess, a snake oil salesman type kind of person, and then just between her and she was a proponent of free love and.
So she would have worked in the hippie movement.
Just a fascinating read. So, that concludes my portion of the broadcast. Surlana.
Great women of history. I apologize if it seems like we didn't bring enough serious gravitas. We really are interested in these ladies. We appreciate everything they did, and it's just a goofy night.
It is.
We've been a little unprofessional, but it happens. When we move to the new studio, things might be a little different, or they just might be more goofy. Who knows?
Well, we're just trying to, I guess when we get to the
more
new
funny things happened in that room than in here.
I think that once we get up there and we, for what's going to happen in that room and everything, I think it's just going to come together like, wow, this is very serious. But it's not going to change who we are. I mean, I'm always going to mispronounce people's names and call them something else. I wonder what it's going
to be like to sit in a room that's painted black.
And, it's not going to be completely... I mean, it's going to be black.
Well, it's predominantly black.
Black. But, the idea I have... And I don't want to give the way what... I mean, just know that the room is being painted black.
I'm going to document it.
Yeah, and when it comes together, it'll be like cool. I don't want to tell anybody about it until you could document the process, but I want to wait until
it's all done.
It's all done, and say, okay, this is the idea I had, and
well, along those lines, let's say, why can't I get that to open? I think Firefox died.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
Well, I hope you didn't need it for anything else.
Well, I think it's actually... but basically, Jupiter has been really astonishing some people because they've been getting some closer looks at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I changed my wallpaper on my phone to the high-resolution pictures that are out there of Jupiter, and they're just phenomenal.
Yeah. So what do you make of that with their
the pictures that they're out there?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we're seeing.
I'm saying they're phenomenal. I mean, I'm looking at one right now, and you can really see. It looks like water, and you put cloudy stuff into the water, and
hoping this is not about to play a video.
And you put the detergent in. I've muted both those channels.
Okay.
So it looks really cool as far as close up, and it's just awesome to see such close pictures of Jupiter.
Oh yeah, I don't know if this is the South Pole looks really interesting. Actually, I don't know how you can tell the actual colors of things. Are they putting filters on it, or is that the actual color of the planet? Because the South Pole, that blue does look like water. I don't know if that's actually, it just shows cyclones, never-ending cyclones. Yeah. You showed me that how on your phone that actually moves. Let's see. The hexagonal poles over Saturn are pretty cool, but I was trying to find more Jupiter stuff because that stuff has the really...
The patterns are interesting, to say the least, on Jupiter. I mean, these are really great pictures, unless someone at NASA painted them.
Yeah, see, I never know what we're looking at. Stunning photos.
A little NASA touch-up photo joke there.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. You don't know. They're good at really touching things up and then taking them all the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. Turn off your ad blocker or pay $1 to view this. No, I will leave your website completely.
Well, anyway, so very visual, and you should definitely reach out onto the interwebs and...
Well, I had an article I was going to kind of summarize because it did it very well, but the link didn't get pasted correctly, so...
Well, that leads me into speaking of space, about those two black holes that gobbled themselves up.
I read that whole article and I was like,
and made a big old ripple through space and time.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fascinating read. I read that off of Motherboard, I believe it was. That these two black holes just gobbled them up, made a bigger black hole, but in the process, it made a big old ripple in space and time.
But didn't that happen long ago, and we're just now seeing it?
Yes, exactly. Long ago, billions upon billions.
Doing your Sagan,
my Carl Sagan. Yeah, many moons ago, and we're now seeing it.
Yeah.
Which is frightening, to say the least. A black hole in general is pretty frightening to get sucked down into it, and into oblivion.
Oh, so we've never seen Jupiter's North Pole before. That's what the big deal is with these photos.
Haven't seen it, and the fact that they're getting the pictures that close, once again, is just phenomenal.
It's like nothing they imagined or thought. Bluer, and lots of storms. No sign of the bands that you're used to seeing around the big parts of Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing signs that clouds have shadows, meaning that clouds are at higher altitudes,
right.
And you can see that. Like Saturn has a hexagonal North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing on Jupiter anywhere that resembles that. I wonder if that's only on Jupiter that's hexagonal swirling. but Jupiter is unique. It's got a few more flybys to do. It's pretty, and I just can't. It's hard to believe we're just now seeing some things for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
After how long has NASA existed, and so. And no other country's done this yet, so you'd think somebody else would have done this by now. And it's said that Jupiter's talking to us in a way only gas giant worlds can. They detected waves. Waves detected the signature emissions of the energetic particles that generate massive auroras and encircle Jupiter's north pole. So they were seeing that for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And these emissions are the strongest in the solar system. But it makes sense. It's the biggest planet in our solar system. And now they're going to try to figure out where those electrons come from and what's generating them in the poles, or the North Pole. So I mean, it's been there forever, but we're just now learning its secrets. So.
Well, I can only imagine the intense gravity could be contributing to all that.
Jupiter's there to take the punch in the face for some of the other planets, so it'll pull something in so it doesn't get to us.
Right.
So.
Fascinating. Anything else you got on the docket there?
Well,
that we missed from last week, or
well, no, it's pretty much housekeeping time.
Mm-hmm. So where do we go from here?
Sweet child of mine.
Oh, sweet child of mine.
Just the usual stuff, housekeeping. What's coming up? What is coming up next week?
Next week is a fringe topic. We'll be diving into alien races. It's
because I already have the notes for that. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, because this goes back to April 22nd, which I think that's when we got ill, wasn't it? I
was laryngitis. I could not talk, and you had some kind of man weakness.
What the heck is that all about?
Something was wrong with you. I don't know what it was.
I didn't feel good probably at that time.
Well, I was contagious, so it's possible you were getting something.
Yeah, so you wrote me into this.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of funny.
Whatever. But anyway, so alien races is going to be on the 10th.
Basically, I went and found some alien races I hadn't heard of that were pretty interesting. And we'll talk about that, and then maybe we could sit there and speculate like March Madness, who would win who in a fight, and then we take the contenders that win and we put them up against the other ones.
Who would win in a fight between Lizzie Borden and Helen Keller? So
that's Venture Brothers reference.
So we got that. We got a guest on the 17th that I guess you need to follow up on.
Yes, I'll do that.
Are we doing transhumanism on?
I have it on there. Unless you want me to call those people about what they're doing now. And
okay, bear with me, everybody. We're going to pause here for a second. Yes, friends of the show. Yes, we'll follow up with them. Plus, follow up with I guess an old friend of mine who has written a book, and
an old roommate of yours.
So, but as far as the month of June is concerned, we've got 1 down and 3 to go.
Got a guest coming.
So the 10th, we're going to be covering alien races.
Not all of them, because
it's just a handful.
Jeez Louise.
I mean, there's some alien races that are out there that really.
And I'm not doing the well-known ones. At least, I don't think I am, because they're well-known.
Well, I mean, it'd be remiss if we didn't mention, the Greys, the Reptoids, just to name a few.
It sounds like you're naming off those groups of kids from Ferris Bueller, all the dweebs and the schizoids. They love it. He's a righteous dude.
We're going to be talking about stuff like that. And so transhumanism, I've been wanting to do that topic for almost.
And I want to give it
almost a year now.
I want to give it all the research time we've got.
So that's what we're going with. People can steal our topics, but we're still going to do those. And
they can't steal our love.
They can't steal our love. Our charisma, our hips. What is it I'm looking for? Our razzmatazz. So
our hips don't lie.
Yeah, whatever.
That's Shakira.
So those are the shows coming up. As always, if you got a nickel to spare, our Patreon account is a great way to help support the universe. Go to spaceboyuniverse.com.
It's right below the embedded player.
Mm-hmm. That'll take you to the Patreon account, and what that is an ongoing way to help support the universe in any way you can. You don't have to, but it's great if you can.
It would really help out, and we'll reward you with some things.
Yes, as Bob is already done so. We'll be sending him some information on some of his things that he's contributed at his level. So become a Patreon today by going there to spaceboyuniverse.com and clicking that banner. So there's the Patreon commercial out of the way. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else?
Well, there's always Project S, but we can't tell you about that.
No,
so
because,
just stay tuned.
Because we'll get in trouble with Patrick Sporer.
Well, we don't even really know what it is.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out ourselves.
We're still trying to create it. So
yeah, Project S, and it's gonna be fun if it comes together.
Yeah, and you could be involved if you just get your butt to Houston.
Get your butt to Mars. Anyway, so that's that. Patreon, Project S, upcoming shows coming up. We want to thank Bev and Ty for calling in tonight. Mm-hmm. The universe loves you. We send our love to you.
As always, you can write us at spaceboy@spaceboyuniverse.com, Surlana at spaceboyuniverse.com if you have comments or suggestions for topics or people you want us to talk about or cover or guests you would like for us to interview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can reach out to us.
You can always suggest topics and guests.
And we always listen to what you have to say. So I know we're missing something. Hopefully, I guess I don't want to say by next week we'll be in the new studio, but probably will.
Maybe.
More or less, depending on how fast the paint dries.
Oh, it don't take that long.
Yeah,
You're just not going to sit there and watch it.
No, of course not. So let's see here. I'm just doing some housekeeping on the back end here. Anything lastly you want to add, Surlana?
It's still first in Texas competition time, so at the end of this month we might be going back to where we went last year, and we may cover the local championships that are going on, and there may be film and interviews of that. So we've got to get the when and wheres on that from our contact, and so we might have more on that and run into some old friends. And
since we were such a hit at Mini Maker Faire last year, October, we'll be back there as well.
21st and 22nd, I believe.
So, making contacts, making connections to people, good friends.
Making pancakes.
Yes, making bacon pancakes. Yeah, you shouldn't start with pancakes.
That's also copywritten.
Anyway, so Surlana, say goodnight.
Yeah, it's time.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Surlana. Executive producer is Surlana. Social media producer is Dennis Koch. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K, K28, Mark S, and Bob N. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Surlana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.